What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports Max, you guys, with another video. Today, I'm here with my guy, Brandon. Brandon is going to be helping us break down and give you guys some analysis for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 2019 training camp preview. Before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. So, Brandon, thanks for coming on today, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man.
So, Tampa. You guys hired Bruce Arians. I thought that was the best coaching hiring of this offseason. And what are I believe that Bruce Arians is going to be a guy who is going to be able to develop Jameis Winston. I feel that Jameis Winston, when he was under Dirk Cutter and Lovie Smith, he never really developed as a quarterback. I think he's pretty much the same quarterback he was when he played for Florida State. Very aggressive, very turnover prone, tends to force the issue more often than not. So, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's accurate?
Yeah, but another thing a lot of people don't take into consideration, like if you're not a Bucks fan, you don't really watch the game. But if you go back and look at a lot of our games this year, our defense spots a lot of people 21 points, so it'll be 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. So Jameis having to throw the ball 50 times a game, and then that leads to not having a running game. So then that leads to the pass rush being able to just pin their ears back, come right after Jameis, not having to worry about a run game. And then of course the secondary, if we have no run game, they know we're throwing the ball. So then it just leads to him trying to force passes, trying to make plays, trying to get us back into the game. Because there's a lot of instances throughout the season where so against the Falcons, week 17, he put up 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and we lost the game like 45 to 42. He put up 42 points and still lost the game. So yeah, there's a lot of turnovers that he forces upon himself, but at the same time, when we have such a weak defense, it doesn't really help make that quarterback any better, no matter who's the coach. So I feel like if Todd Bowles gets the defense under wraps and it's actually like just mid pack, like 15th in the league instead of worse in pass and in the run game, then I think you're going to see a lot better out of Jameis, especially under BA.
Okay. So we know Bruce Arians, what he has accomplished. His resume speaks for itself. Coach Big Ben spent a little bit of time with Peyton Manning when he was still a young quarterback. Spent time. His most notable job, in my opinion, is the time that he spent with Carson Palmer. I mean, basically, Carson Palmer was nearing the end of his career, and then he went to Arizona, and Bruce Arians revitalized him, and Carson Palmer had the best seasons under the Arizona Cardinals of his career. So he revitalized Carson Palmer, and I'm expecting him to do that with Jameis Winston. What are your expectations for Jameis Winston this season?
Well, under BA, I'm expecting about 30 touchdowns, but probably about 15 interceptions. So that's just who Jameis is. He's going to take chances regardless. But I'm expecting a big season out of Jameis and the offense in general. I'm expecting Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones and all them boys to get running. But Jameis, especially, I feel like y'all can see exactly who he truly is. Because if you look at, he put the record-breaking numbers his first like 3-4 seasons in the league. So the talent's there, and he puts up the numbers, but it's putting it up on a consistent basis. And I feel like BA will be able to get that with all the quarterbacks that he's got on track since he's been in the league.
Now, another thing I want to talk about is so you guys wide receiving core. You guys got Chris Godwin there. A lot of people think he's going to be a guy who's going to have a breakout season for Tampa, especially under Bruce Arians. Then you got Mike Evans. Mike Evans is one of the best wide receivers in the game. But you guys lost Adam Humphries to the Tennessee Titans and free agency. So who is the guy who's going to end up stepping up for Adam Humphries during training camp that we need to be on the lookout for?
Well, it won't necessarily be a receiver right away because you got to remember we got OJ Howard, we got Cam Brate as well. But they drafted this dude named Scotty Miller. He's a speedster, and if you know anything about BA, you know he loves them speedy receivers.
Yep, John
John
Brown.
Brown, yeah, Mike Wallace, all them boys. That's all BA right there. So we got Scotty Miller, and then we got another boy we drafted last year named Justin Watson. That's pretty decent. And then we have we signed Brashad Perriman too. That's another speedster. They got his career going in the right direction last year with the Cleveland. But we got quite a few dudes. Bobo Wilson, who played in some meaningful games last year and has a rapport with Jameis. They played together at Florida State, and they've gotten together here in the pros too. But I would definitely look out for Scotty Miller because he's a big time speedster.
So the last question on the offensive side of the ball that I'm going to ask you about is the halfback position. Now, a lot of people on my channel have been asking me how do I feel about Tampa Bay's halfback position? Do they have a starting halfback? And I was a little bit disappointed in Peyton Barber. A lot of people thought he was going to end up having a breakout season, but I mean, when you're down so much at halftime, like you said earlier, being down 21-0. I've been watching Tampa Bay. I live down here in Florida, so normally we get a lot of Tampa Bay games down here, and every time I watch a Tampa Bay game, it's like Tampa Bay is always down big at halftime. Then they come back storming, putting up like 28 points, 30 points in the second half. And really, when you're down big so much, you tend to focus more on the passing game because you can come back faster passing the ball than running the ball. Then you have Ronald Jones, who a lot of people thought was going to end up being a little bit better than what he did last season. Didn't really do that much. So in terms of the halfback position, who do you think is going to end up starting there? Because that's definitely a position battle that we have to watch during training camp. Who do you think will end up starting there?
Well, I honestly feel like Peyton Barber is the guy. And he had games last season where we just gave him the ball and we focused on the run game, and he made big plays for us. But another thing is our offensive line was very weak last year, so that didn't help at all. But I feel like him and Ronald Jones together will be a great one-two punch because Ronald Jones added like 20 pounds this summer, and then on top of that, BA man said he's been working on his hand. That was one of his issues when he came to the league, and he always had great vision. He had great vision back at USC. So normally when you have great vision, it transfers no matter where you play. And he ran a 4.4 at the combine, so he got thunder with Peyton Barber, lightning with Ronald Jones. So I feel like together they'll be a good tandem together. I think we have our two bags.
Now we move on to the defense side of the ball. Now the first guy I want to ask you about is Vernon Hargreaves because Vernon Hargreaves is one of my favorite prospects coming into the draft a few seasons ago, and injuries has pretty much been his downside. So, what are you expecting out of Vernon Hargreaves this season?
And I love me some Vernon, man. He's one of my favorites. But last year, the week one against the Saints, he really balled out. He really was showing the traits to be one of the top corners on the team. But the injuries, I mean, if he can get healthy, I really believe he can be one of the better corners on the team. With him and Carlton Davis being our top two, and then we have two more that we drafted this year that are looking really good in camp so far.
Yeah, so on the defense side of the ball, so basically on this year's NFL draft, I think you guys went defensive heavy for the most part. I think you guys drafted like only like three offensive players if I'm not mistaken. And you guys went heavy on the defense side of the ball. So which rookies other than Devin White, because we already know he's going to end up having a big impact with the departure of Quan Alexander, other than Devin White, which rookie do you think is going to end up having the biggest impact on the defense side of the ball?
Well, in my eyes, there's three of them. You got Dean, who's a corner out of Auburn. You got Murphy Bunting, who I believe was Bowling Green, if I'm not mistaken. And you got the safety Edwards out of Kentucky. But I feel like Edwards or Bunting will be one of the top because Bunting is going to be playing a slot, and Edwards will be the safety, of course. But if Jamal Dean sneaks up into a starting corner position, then I feel like all three of those guys together will make a huge impact because everybody knows our secondary has been the weakest part of our team since God knows when.
Yeah, so the last question is before I ask you for some players to watch, what about the defensive line? What about the pass rushers?
Pass rushers, I don't think we have an issue there. Yeah, JPP will be out for a good chunk of the season, but I believe he'll be back by mid-season. But we picked up Carl Nassib last year who the Browns cut, and he actually ended up with I believe 9.5 sacks last year. He's straight balled out. Vita Vea, as disappointed as I was in the draft pick, he came on as of late. super late in the season. And then the Dominican Sue, I mean, that he speaks for himself. And then going back to the 3-4, we have Noah Spence, who we drafted about 2-3 years ago, who's built for a 3-4, and then Shaq Barrett, who we got from Denver, who had like 8.5 sacks last year too. So I believe all those guys together will give us a good pass rush until JPP comes back, and and then on top of that, Todd Bowles likes to blitz, so then we got a bunch of guys that can blitz. Levante Buchanan that they brought from Arizona that was under Todd Bowles. So I believe pass rush wise will definitely be good. We were good with it last year, but I think we'll be even more consistent with it this year.
Okay, okay. So Brandon, the last question I have before I let you go, give us some players to watch for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during training camp.
The guys that I would watch, it's really not a lot of good like skill players, but definitely for the offensive line. We drafted a dude named Alex Kappa in the third round last year, who's our right, who we want to be our right guard. We're definitely gonna need him to step up. But I would definitely watch Jamal Dean and this Murphy Bunting dude. Murphy Bunting's a blazer, and he's just fast. He's a ball hawk, and then Jamal Dean, he can just be a shutdown corner. I believe him and Carlton Davis together, which they're both actually from Auburn, can be shutdown corners in this league. And then you have the boy Edwards, the safety, who they're saying is going to probably start at a strong safety position. So those three, the secondary that I said something about earlier, I would definitely watch out for those three.
Okay, okay, and I really like what Temple Bay did in the draft. Like you said, they got a lot of cornerbacks with a lot of speed. Jamal Dean, I think he ran a 4.34 as well, or like I know he ran a fast time. I think it was a four
Yeah,
two eight, but I think it was a 4.34 or 4.28. But a lot of speed in that secondary. So I really like what Tampa Bay has in the secondary. And Brandon, my guy, thanks for coming on, giving us 12 minutes of your time.
no doubt, man. It was a pleasure being here, man. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on.